Good evening, welcome everyone to the 2020 Freedom Lecture, Begeer, Haat en Hewaal, which will be presented by the Rojava Film Commune. My name is Jonas Staal, I'm an artist, I'll be moderating this event. And when the Rojava Film Commune was invited and we were preparing this event, I have to honestly say that when I hear the word freedom in political discourse today, I get profoundly worried. Not happy, profoundly worried. I think of the freedom of the ultra-nationalist Party for Freedom in the Netherlands, the Partij voor de Vrijheid. I think of the supposed freedom that the US brutally was imposing upon Iraq, the so-called liberation. I think of the consumer freedom claimed by one class of humans to plunder and extract resources from another. And I think of the supposed freedom of duty-free art, traveling from one art fair, one biennial to another, and that seems to want to do nothing else but to decorate the lives of the 1%. In Rojava, in West Kurdistan, the northern part of Syria, I encountered a different kind of freedom. A freedom that is embodied in a deep and meaningful way by the artistic and educational work of the Rojava Film Commune, which tells the stories of the Kurdish, Arab and Assyrian revolutionaries that liberated their region from the Assad regime, which liberated the world from the Islamic State, and which today are faced with the invasion of the Erdogan regime. These are revolutionaries who, while holding the front lines to protect their peoples, created a democratic revolution based on local self-governance, gender equality and communal economy, a model that is sometimes described as Rojava's stateless democracy. The Rojava Film Commune, this collective of filmmakers, of teachers, of organizers, of revolutionaries, show us that genuine freedom can never be individual property, but that genuine freedom has to be defined and practiced collectively, communally. They teach us that the reduction of your freedom is a reduction of mine. That an assault on my freedom is an assault on yours. That freedom is interdependent. It is not for nothing that the Commune's current retrospective exhibition that has already traveled from Athens to Zagreb and is about to open in New York and Ljubljana is titled Forms of Freedom. Now, before the lecture starts, let's take a short moment to learn more about these new forms of freedom through their film. We're going to watch a fragment of Stories of Destroyed Cities from 2016, directed by Rojava Film Commune co-founder Shero Hinde, that will also be joining the panel later on today.
Rojava,
Chani, Vashi, Inderasa, Chani, Earth, Mr. Chava, Inderasa.
تلهبيها أبونا أنا مبارك كده.
أريوالي.
كما وقتي خلاص.
مرحبا مرات
شوايا. شوا شاني.
وعشتن صاحبي مميز القامشلو.
أريوالي شو قامشلو.
قامشلو جاوبو.
خدي باش بو. وكا هجاري دي ما قال لك سراج بواني.
يسر جاوا دخير دقيقة. مراد هاتي اللي جاتي
بس خوش امرات بخير هاتي تشاواني ماشي صحتاتا ما قولي بتشوفا قامشلو تشاوابو خلقي قامشلو
أري ولا تشوفهم قامشلو هنا كتشت مكرين للرياح خدا شو ما لا وجهي مكتوبة كشتر شانبون
صحتاتا خوش
كلامك
مالا تاغا عمريت دريش با ديكرم كخوارنا كي چاي كي
اجي كيش مالي اساخري ما مهي زاروك جي نديتينا ولا
دي مالا تاغا صحتا تا خوش كتشوي سلالا جيبكا
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. هاتم ونلكيدرينا محلو دربو عدول كتامن وبيريا بابي خو نقربو وناين بابي خو
بابا ما تخاص بيريا تقربو
بابا داشتش مرانينا
حيبا قمت ذكر خو تحيبناكي
بخير هاتي بابا
قدم دادي كان ورم تشتج وراني هنا ورمن اف دايا اف جي جترا او جي جكاچا من ريا كادا كوا وانا دي ساج من قهاريا بس
كراكي مراد اساخري مش بدك خوارن سلبو بس رعفك
او خوارن حاضر جي ناخذ نها بلا داكا وجي بي بلا خو حاجز نكا كاوي تلفزيوني في خجاري بنت شو اخبار هلو
ايه بخير هاتي خوارنا بيتا تجي حس كي مشتارة شكريا بس بلكي تبخارنا مرادينا بيتحلمي عقامش لو تتقبل
تنقاري الا تتشتكي بيجي بسي تزاني من شقاسي بيريا خوارنا تكربو لدي ساجي
چه؟ دیسا چه؟
هاورت وتنا كرسي چا خوشا يشيف جي قديا سببش يرو خوش تروي
ام زاروکی وی والاتانه برای فرمان ور جیان هبو خوش بو چانده که ما دیروکی هبو پر ولاتی ور جیان دکرن هوین چتا دستکین هنک هزین هرمی و در و ایریشی ور کرن قتل عامه کی مازن پیکانی لبله ولات ما چه برای وقت جنات هاته دیتن سواجی پیشاروجا زارو کن چه خو فرمان دا وکرین ابی وقت دینه کیما رخنه داینه کیما ام بی ولاتی شورا بخن واره کی خوش جهه کی بیجیان کرن وقت بحشتک
We are incredibly honored that 5 members of the Rojava Film Commune were willing to travel all the way to Rotterdam to be here with us today to share with us their incredible work, their vision on new forms of freedom in cinema and in politics. The lecture will take 30 minutes, after which there will be a short conversation with the commune and chance for you to ask questions. But now, first for the 2020 Freedom Lecture, please join me in welcoming Rojava Film Commune members and filmmakers Sevinas Evdike and Dr. Hesso.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Jonas, for the introduction. I want to say that we're very glad and very honored to be here, being a part of this lecture and the International Film Festival of Rotterdam. And I want to take the chance to thank all of the people that are working to prepare this event, and all of our friends here that made it possible for us to come here. So today's Freedom Lecture, actually Jonas said a lot of things that I wanted to say, leaving me with very few. And I think when we say freedom, we can think of a lot of things, but mostly we think about ourselves, humankind. And I think it's selfish to say that freedom belongs only to us, to humans, as we can define freedom also as a flow of energy and the diversity in universe itself. But I will try mostly to concentrate on today's global system and its issues, and it relates to us, the Kurds, the very notion of freedom, and what all this has to do with art. So the first thing coming to a lot of us mind, or coming to my mind when mentioning today's global system, is the word failure. Today's, I believe, world global system is failing to establish peace and stability in the world. Is failures to meet our needs as human beings. It failed us people in the world, and it has to do with a lot of its structural problems. Maybe we don't have the time to go into it. So I will try mostly to say what these failures brought to our region, the Middle East, in form as wars, fight on energy resources, and operation nation states. Maybe a lot of you know that our homeland, Kurdistan, is ruled by 4 nation states in the region, which are Iraq, Syria, Iran, and Turkey. And for centuries now, and especially for the last 100 years, our people, by thousands of hundreds, were killed. Our language was banned. Our culture was attacked. For example, we could only sing in Kurdish in secret. The Kurds being one of the largest nation without state of its own. But in 2012, inside Syria, we had a revolution. We revolved as many times in our history against the Ba'ath regime in Assad, the Syrian regime, and were able, through a bloodless revolution, to establish Rojava. Rojava, as words means in Kurdish, means west, and it refers to the western parts of Kurdistan, which is inside Syria. But also, it rather has political meanings, and it refers to the self-administration that were established there since. A democratic grassroots democratic ecologist, women liberation, self-administration, or as also Jonas called it, stateless democracy. What does it mean, stateless democracy? Basically, it means that us, the people living there, Kurds, Arabs, Assyrians, are ruling ourselves, by ourselves, through communes, through municipalities, and we don't look to politicians to represent ourselves as we represent ourselves by ourselves. It also stands that it means that every people, every belief, every religion in the region can coexist freely with all with its own cultural identity and cultural differences and rights. Rojava thus is in opposition to state, which stand for monocultural identity, for centralized power embodying nationalism, patriarchy, and capitalism. The very idea of existence of such system as Rojava were attacked, and in order to defend it, thousands of our bright men and women died defending it, resisting. And maybe a lot of you heard it of news, but stupidly enough, I argue, the mainstream media were able somehow to create this idea of being a Kurd enabled you to resist and to fight back against an organization as ISIS, which, as stupid as enough, is also, I claim, wrong. Of course, we fought back, we resisted alongside our brothers and sisters from other peoples and beliefs, like the Arabs, the Assyrians. But here I think in order to understand, we need art. Art and culture in general. But from one side, to understand better how art and culture form this resistance, and also to change this very narrative. Discovered around 2010 in city northern Kurdistan, which is inside Turkey, 10,000 years old template, which has this rectangle big columns with the motif of wild animals, and also all the bones found were from wild animals. And simply, to put it simply, it just means that this temple was founded, was there before the agriculture. This very simple fact changes the whole narrative of how mankind settled. It's saying that it's not the economic reasons, it's not agriculture what make us settled, but rather the mental structure, religion, belief, or art and culture. Because the emerging of art and culture were almost at the same times with beliefs and with what we call today religion, which is a more systematic way of belief. So as I said, the mental structure are the basic for us for becoming a society, for us, in other words, becoming us. It is culture, it's art. Art was always accompanied by rituals, and in some points were considered rituals itself. Because of the first songs, the first theater plays were actually simulation of tales, of myths, and it was the worshipping of gods and simulating the stories and the mythologies was generated the first dramas, for example. In that sense, art have always been an attempt to have a better understanding of life, and thus to have a better, or trying to attempt to achieve a better life. Every experience makes meanings. Making the experience itself subject of art leads to improving the experience itself. Seeing life as a subject of art, what I believe it was attracted people through centuries to art. People listen to songs and watch theater plays, in only to see life, to see the life experienced, analyzed and commented by artists, by art itself. Aesthetic instincts give us the power to enjoy things without going down to the need to own them. Also, I would argue that art forms our personality and identity, maybe other than anything else I claim. For example, the first ideas, the first big ideas, the first big questions that we have in our life, we get them through art, through literature. We hear about love before even, from a song or a movie, before even falling in love. We experience some concept as loyalty, as friendship, as sacrifice through literature and art before even experiencing them in the real life. And indeed, all the great artists from Aristotle to Shakespeare and a lot of others were analyzing life. They were telling us about us, advising us somehow beside entertaining us. But nowadays, I see less and less artists are tempted to do this. As they retreat in the field of life in front of some new kind of science that emerged afterwards, like sociology and psychology. There is uncertainty in art material, in art subject. It tends to shrink from reality to self. Sorry. So increasingly, the very form and content of art is harmed in favor of artists' tempers. They start to perform art that requires us, the audience, to understand the means they use in order then later to understand the content, the meanings they're having in their art pieces. Of course, I know that the artists start from this need or instinct of self-expression, but I believe also it should be accompanied by a high will or a high purpose. Otherwise, it will be lost in some way of exhibitionism, which I unfortunately saw the last year when I was here, visiting some art museums. And it's sad to see the contemporary art losing this subversive function it should have or it tended to have. Especially for cinema, an art that requires social communication, such a withdrawal, such a social retreat can only be seen as absurd. I believe that the audience is not irrational, emotional mess, but rather the owner and the creator of culture. Culture, for me at least, I believe it's the sum total of all the entity of structure and meaning of a society through its historical development and progress emerge. Culture then is not only content or meaning, it's not only a song, but also the people who sing it. And the very situations that the story of the song was generated, like a funeral, a wedding, or during the harvest, and also the people organizing such a situation or such an event. We cannot talk even about the existence of such a song without understanding or mentioning the events that led us to have the song in the first place. We cannot talk about only films or the stories in the films without, for example, talking about us, about our commune, our the Rojava Film Commune, the organizations that are willing to, or that are trying to do these films. Otherwise, we cannot have content, we cannot reserve it. We will rather have some films, some other people will tell our stories for us. We will have some films like, maybe a lot of you watch it, to The Girls of Sun, Les Filles du Soleil, or the other one, which is even worse, the Sisters of Arms. I believe, I think basically they show the Kurdish people fighting, but they don't even tell why they are fighting. They show people revolutionaries defending themselves, resisting, but not showing what all of this is about. They don't even mention the name of their organization. So we in Rojava Film Commune try to change this liberal, shallow narrative, as well as a narrative from mass media outlets that mention our name, such as CNN, Fox, just to mention a few. We're showing our people, are showing us, the Kurds, as poor educated, but somehow have these nice faces fighting against the ugly terrorists of ISIS, which I believe is very disrespectful for our struggle and for all the ideas that we're fighting for. Of course, for this, of course, in this sense, in this framework, we are not looking for the colonial reality escape films, nor to the bourgeoisie subjective film, but rather trying to establish to establish a new form of films, of aesthetics that's based on larger social consciousness. Also, because the politics of the ruling regimes in the region and their systematic attempts to carry on a cultural genocide against us occurs, there is an absence of Kurdish cinema, and therefore of what we can call Kurdish audience, which is also making a lot of our artists, Kurd artists, filmmakers, to head to international audience, such as film festivals. But it's also something that we're trying to do, that is to rebuild the culture of cinema in the region and to rebuild socially, of course, I mean, what we can call a Kurdish audience of cinema, as we believe it's a shared art. It is difficult to do this as we, of course, are going through the ongoing attempt of genocide to break and deform these entities that form our culture, such as language, such as our collective memory. But it's only us, I believe. But it's not only us, I believe. Today's global system and its main propaganda mechanism, Hollywood, are threatening the very existence of every local people and culture in the whole world, not only even in the Middle East. Through a lot of their films and series, trying to draw this absurd image of tomorrow, they try to break every hope of change. With these dystopic narratives, try to create such an idea as if every attempt of a change can only lead to the worst reality imaginable. Also, all the imagery bombardments from the news or from some zombie films or the killing video games, I think create a sense of alienation for people watching off screen. Otherwise, how it would even be possible for catastrophes that we're having now to happen in these 21st centuries? How could you watch the images of Yazidi people getting beheaded, genocided, women and children sold in public, and just people walking barefoot in deserts? How could you watch all the revolutionaries, the fighters who defended not only themselves but all of us, all of the world, all of you, from the threat of ISIS to be killed and attacked by the invasion of the Turkish state? And then there is the discussion in the media, which is about the main narrative of the Turkish official state narrative, and about having these security concerns from on its border from us, of course, in Rojava, which is simply lie. But even the discussion itself, I believe, it's wrong. Even if we were to attack the Turkish state from our borders, which is complete lie, I believe that this attack, this invasion, is wrong. It's illegal. Is a try of a genocide, and it's a terrorist attack. And I know what I'm saying when I'm using the word terrorist. They are simply, as well as ISIS did, trying to spread terror among our people. Otherwise, why would they do? They would use a phosphate bombs in such small town like Serikaniye. They have already the air superiority. They have all kinds of bombs. They could, if they want to kill us, they can kill us using other kind of bomb. But they want also to burn our people to death, which also did the same in a city called Cizre inside Turkey, in the northern Kurdistan, in the early 2016, where about 200 people, women, children, and old people burned to death in basements. The existence of such a state itself is wrong and is suppressing us, because state itself, its establishment of all the means and apparatus of violence. They exercise violence in order to keep things the way they are. So every act by us, as definition, I believe, is defensive. I'm saying this not only to talk about the Middle East, but here also in Europe and all the world. I believe we should admit it, that all the international organizations are not functioning anymore. Not the UN, not the EU, not all the organizations that are state-oriented, and they cannot solve what we have today's issues like refugees, like ecological disasters, like peace and prosperity for the whole world. They simply can't. But what we succeeded in was simply being able to say no. No to this global international system, and no to its outcome, ISIS. We have proven that we can do something, change something, not being a part of the bloodshed in the region, but rather to be an opportunity of coexistence. This is what I think freedom is about, to be able to change, not simply to be free to choose. Choose red or yellow, Feyenoord or Ajax, choose Brexit or not, Trump or Clinton, but to be able to say no and to change the whole system. And it's either for all of or none. It's not a matter of personal choice. Being free to choose what I want, but being ready even to compromise, to give up something that you have to liberate other people. We should start questioning things around us. The laws, the states, capitalism, economy are not sacred, are not divine, are not definitive. I saw walking people here waiting on a red traffic light in the middle of night when maybe there was not a single car moving in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. My English is not that strong, so I will speak in a more simple language. Years before the Syrian civil war happened and before Rojava revolution starts, I was young and I was studying education, and I was sitting in the garden of my family house with a woman that later she was one of the leaders of the women revolution in Rojava. We were sitting and she was so exhausted. She was working so much and she was coming every day so tired. She was refusing to eat a lot, refusing to offer her anything. And I was not used to this kind of woman who works outside of the house. I knew my mother and everybody who works inside the house, or the most that you can get there is to be an employed somewhere coming after 5 hours a day working. So I asked her, I told her, what are you trying to do? It's so difficult, you're so tired, and it's so weird. What are you doing? What you're trying to do by having a lots of meetings, talking with a lots of people, trying to convince stupid people that I would never speak with them. And she looked around her, and she saw the table, and she said, if you are totally free, what would you like to do? I thought a little bit, and I said I would like to be a dancer or a filmmaker. And she said, imagine if we can create a table much bigger than this table, and colorful, have all the colors that you can imagine, and everybody can come and sit on this table and do whatever they want to do, but with the respect with the others, in a happy way and in a collective way. And what you're doing, like what you want to do, the art and the culture is going to be the central stone of this table. Like it stands on this. It stands on many different things, and the culture and art is the main thing. And I was like, okay, if you create this, I want to be part of it. She was like, no, you need to work to be part of it. There is no way that you will get it like this easily and simply. So after a while, Rojava Revolution started with a woman leading, and I wanted to be part of it, but I didn't know how. And slowly I understood, I learned, because all the process that happened in the last 9 years in Rojava was a process of learning. Whatever you do, whatever you give, you are learning something. So I participated in this self-administration that is a body, and created of lots of small pieces that one small piece alone cannot mean nothing. And this body cannot work without the small piece. So it needs to be gathered and it needs to work all together. So if you want to be happy, if you want to do what you want to do, and if you want to be free, but really, you need to be part of this body that can light around. This is my imagination about the self-administration that has been done. And Rojava Film Commune is a small piece of this body that without it, the system do not work. And with it, it can be much better. So if any of us, the people who are sitting here and our friends back home, if they do it a little bit wrong, they make a problem in the system. This is why we have a heavy responsibility in our shoulders that we hold it happily. And what motivates this body is the ideals that we believe in, and what we started to do all of this thing for it. And it's about being liberated. What I knew at the beginning was just like, I'm Kurd, I have no rights, I want to have rights, I want to have my language, but it's not about this. We learned, as I said, in this process of learning, we learned that it's about all the people. Imagine Rojava is a place like here, and all of us, we are sitting in, all of us, we are living in, but we are all come from different cultures, different languages, different backgrounds. We all love different things, and we have different religions. It's a small place, but it's so colorful. What can we say, like what I can say about it? So it's about this body get motivated about being all these people who live here being liberated and living with their own identity, and each person by themselves being liberated as a part of this whole system. So in 2015, Rojava Film Commune was created as many different communes that were created in the art field. And each work that we attempted to do since then until now is related to each other. So we cannot do one work that, if one work stops, the other have no meaning. If we do not create a culture of cinema that was forbidden for 40 years in our country, we cannot make films. So first we need to make people love cinema, know what is cinema, and be motivated to collaborate with us and to understand it, to understand us why we are doing this. So we start with screening films all over villages, schools, neighborhoods. We don't have cinema theaters until now, unfortunately, but we have culture centers, and moving around with nice films that we love it. And we share it with the people, for kids, for grown-ups. And then slowly we started, there was a lot of people who wanted to learn this, who wanted to be part of this, who wanted to make films, to be part of what we are doing. And we created an education system that had, it was part of the academy, it's the art academy, and then also with workshops and into schools. And the students of the academy, after a while, after they graduated, they come to the commune, and together we started to create films, because from the beginning we couldn't create films with a small number that we started with. And all of this, we start to make a film festival. Now we are in a film festival, but for sure, the films that we want to do is films that we do it from our culture, from our people to our people. Because there is no way that we will make a film just to be so far, 100 kilometers away from home. People watch it, maybe love it, maybe not, maybe win prizes, maybe not. But our mothers do not watch it and do not feel it. And especially the stories that we want to tell is the stories of them. Stories of struggle, lots of years of struggle, and the stories of the life that we have, and the sharing that we all share it together. And this is how Commune Film works, as a small piece of this whole body that called Rojava Self-Administration, that we wish it will continue to make more production, to make more films, to make more projects, because what we were doing until now is working hard to create something, because our society is a collective society. Like from the beginning, we live in a communal life, but we didn't create together a new art that is just new in our country. It's a hard work, but as we see now, it's possible. If it wasn't possible, we wouldn't be here now. And the most thing that inspires us is the support of people. People of Rojava, that they didn't know much about cinema. Even at the beginning, when we go to one family to ask them, can your kid come and become an actor? Because we don't have actor, actress, we don't have all the production thing that is happening in a normal cinema making films. So we go to a family and we ask a mother, can your kid be an actor in our film? And he said, you want to make my kid a cinema? I don't allow this. This is not good. Like in the society, don't look good, because the word cinema was like not so nice for a while. And then if we say that, if we tell them this film is going to be for the resistance, it's going to be for your neighbor it's going to be the story of your neighbor who fell martyr 2 months ago in this city, and say, take everything. You can do whatever you want to do, and take the house. Do you need food? I'm going to make food. In the last years that we were working in the film commune, there is no single place that we were in, and all the neighborhood were together with us, collaborating, giving us food, drinks, place to sleep, actors, actresses, production needs, and it was a big honor for us to work in it, and we hope that we can continue. At the end of the day, all the members of the commune come together, because we are committees, which committee work for different things, so we have many different works that are done in the same time, but at the end of the day, we all come together and we live together. We eat, drink, and sleep together. So you can say this, that we are a family, but with ideals, with one idea that we are all trying to reach it, and we will work so hard to reach it. Thank you to listen to me.
Thank you so much, Sevinas and Diyar. Before we invite the other members of the film commune on stage, we're going to look at one more fragment of the work of the Rojava Film Commune. It is the film by Ersin Çelik. The end will be spectacular. It had its European premiere first day at the International Film Festival of Rotterdam.
İsterler ki gün görmeden öne selamlar.
صلاح زار العصب فاصدار دورة تترك أبا جارب دو وكان كنيسي محتشم حمو هشتن ليش بديل تشكرن سريان وكلدان أم أرمينيا أم قلاندن وبشتي صالي أنا تهزار وبازار دولتات تركتكي أبا جاري كردي بدو أبطوبا خراكر أري نو سيابو ونها بريق وزهرم واد شيروكا هوستان الجار نابيشن هوستان الجار سري دينا وكهر جار خودي يكا ودرقا حصار
Then I would like to welcome the other members of the film commune on stage, filmmakers Ersin Çelik, Shiro Hinde and composer Mahmoud Barazi. And to start the conversation with the three members that have joined, one question for each, and Diyar and Sevinas will help with the translation from Kurdish to English. Shiro, the first film that we saw today, the fragment Stories of Destroyed Cities, is your work. We saw the images of a destroyed city. We hear the voices of those who used to live there, maybe of those who will return there, but it's part of a much bigger film project. Can you tell us a little bit more about how it came about?
بخير هاتن سبيك. باجار میرانبوی بحثا شونا جیانی یا کود باجارین که کردستان هاتن داگر کردن هاتن میرانبویین عالی فیزیکی ده گله ویژه درکت پشتی کودجمن کت ده دمکی گلوی وان باجاران دیسا لبر خدا و دجمن جوان باجارا درخست لی راستی ویرانبوینه کی مزن هات او کرم
Stories of Destroyed Cities is a film that speaks about three different cities that they witnessed a big war, and after the occupation, after a while of the attack that came to these cities, the people of these cities, they resisted and they liberated the three cities again, but they faced their cities being destroyed.
دوان باجرا ده شونا جیانی هبو یعنی دیوار ویران ببون عالی فیزیکی ده ویران ببون لهنا شونا جیانی هبو ودنگا جیانا کل بداری دهات کرن هبو وان دیوارات تشتكي هنا رحي وان كسي كل بداری جیان دکرن زراوی جیانا وا پاراست بو ما خوست ام وک کسی کی ارکولوگ گاوا که جیکی خبرش بو که شونواران درخ مجی خوست شونوارا از زندیوری یا جیانی یا رحی و وان باجارا درخ.
When these cities were destroyed, you could hear the sounds of the people who lived in it. When you see it, you could see details about their lives in it, and you could see the places that they were in. And what we wanted to do, it was like an archaeologue work to go and dig for the places that you can feel that there were people living here and taking parts of their lives.
او باجارجی باجار شنگالی بو یکو پیکاتینا ج کمنتوا زیدینه اولا زیدینه داعش ایریش کرد او باجار وران کرد گلک خلکشتنو و گلک جنجی رواندن زاروک رواندن باجاری دن باجارو کی پوچکی عربا بو له هریم کی کردا بو خواستن به رنگی ایریش بکنج بگونا کوکی کی نا الودری اوا باجار سیاش خو ایرو باجار کوبانی ایرو و کیرو بری 5 سالان هات رزگار کردن کوبانی او رزگار کردن کوبانی وک پیروزباهیه که بو جه سرکفتنا برخودانا گلیمه او روز جبومه پر سمبولیکش.
He says the first story is about Shengal. It's a city that the people who lives in it are from the Yazidi religion, and it was under the ISIS attack, and they killed hundreds and thousands of the people, and they kidnapped many Yazidi women as slaves at that time. The second city is a small city called Jaza, and it is a city with most people who are living in are Arabs, and by this attack they wanted to make a big fight between the Kurds and the Arabs. The third place is Kobane city, which today is the 5th year memory of the liberation of Kobane, and today have a special meaning for us.
Yani tiştekî din ji bo gava ku mala mero benî ez karim gava ku mala mero nema a mero be gava ku dijminek têk heve mala mero de û ji wir dijî ca êrişî mero bike. بشرطت که گوا کود وستی در سر لوینا تا خورا حدی که تی شرطت که گوا کود وستی در آویج ج مالا تبت خو بقدر حی تبت خو گوا کو عاجز دبی دوی مالا تدی در برکی وینه بیرانی تدر خشخور وقتی خود در باز که یعنی این چیزی که بیشه که مالا مرو نمایا مرو به لما مال خو مرزگار کردن دوی فیلمی دیجی اموی شونا دستین گماری کل دیوارین باجاری مل زراوین باجاری مبویجی ما اوجی دادیار کردن.
There is something about home when it is under attack. There is these people who come to fight you. They fight you, and when they are tired, they come and sleep in your bed. They fight you, and when they are thirsty, they come and drink water from your tap. They fight you, and when they are bored, they come and watch your memories and look at it. And we liberated our homes. But you could see the dirty stamp of the attack in these houses, and we wanted in the film to show this part too.
Ersin, Jarek, maybe we can move to you. Your film, The End Will Be Spectacular, also deals with a destroyed city, the Sur district in Diyarbakir, which most well known as the southeastern part of Turkey, but which is the northern part of Kurdistan. A 100-day resistance of Kurdish militia, urban militia, young people, against the Turkish army. It's a film that you made about a war, but you made it in the middle of a war. Could you tell us a little bit of how this incredibly complex production came about?
Barbash.
Good evening.
Kurt kurmancı baxım, hnek tişt eğer kesen ki hazır eğer film temaşa kiriye, az bavarım ev hest derbas buye. Yani ez duhazım şer her tişt paramparça dike teni ne velate ki mesela velata Kurda naha 8 parça fermi 4 parça 5'a Türkiye 5'a İran 5'a Suriye 5'a Irak 5'a Ermenistan'e unaha Afrin Cudabuye Serikaniye Cudaye yani naha mesela velata ki bu fikren 8 parça.
I will try to speak briefly, and maybe for those of you who already watched the film when it was screened, maybe will have a better understanding of what I'm about to say. But when there is a war is going on in some place, everything is it turned to parts. The homeland of Kurds, Kurdistan, is officially 4 parts now, but in Syria and Turkey, Iraq and Iran, but it's more. It's like about 8 parts now. And there's Afrin that's occupied, recently Serikani is part in Armenia and so on. So imagine a country that turned into 8 parts.
Le perskreke ki heremezin tenine eva şer aliye ki jiyana mirov parça dike laşa mirov parça dike peşeroja civake ki paramparça dike u ciğer zaroka parça dike yani her tışt krej dike o parça dike.
But it's not only the homelands that it turns into pieces, also the life itself, the future of our young children now is turned into pieces. The very places that we live in, sleeping or playing, turned into thousands of pieces.
Sinema yanje hüner teni serxa nikare şer bisekine yanje teni serxa teni rebaza sinema em nikarin azadiyo xa pek bine.
Maybe cinema and art alone cannot stop a war, or we cannot liberate ourselves just by making films and doing cinema.
Le heze sinemaya ve ku dikari bir parça buyune da hesteki şeşemin ava buke yani tişte ku ne peviste emi baxvın ve derida yanji nav gelda yanji cekidinda boyuji heze sinema eve ku dikari tamam buke bütün buke yani bu dikari yek buke henek parça buyune.
So somehow maybe similar to a Sixth Sense or also the cinema has the power to overcome this being parts, and has the power to unify us, to bring us closer to each other, both emotionally and mentally.
Vek minak yani pratik ev filme jibo azadi the end will be spectacular. Çirokevi berxodana set roja Suriye u ev part Bakure Kurdistan em dibêjin em vê filmê Kobanî yani Rojava Kurdistan kişand ev her du 5 bu yek filmekî de.
For example, we choose this film, Jibo Azadi in Kurdish. The end will be spectacular, which is about the city of the 100 days of resistance in the city of Sur, in Diyarbakir, which is in the northern part of Kurdistan, in the city of Kobani, which is in the western part of Kurdistan. At least for this one film, those 2 parts came to be one.
Listik vana mesereke rubar şervan pişti film Başure Kurdistan erişeki disa Türkiye'de şehit ket.
And our lead cast, our main actors, Rubar Sharvan, after finishing the shooting, after finishing the film, he died a martyr in another part of Kurdistan, in South Kurdistan, again in resisting the attack of the Turkish army.
Boviji hüner yanjı sinema ve kolektif komün u hevalema ku ne hazır vederiye per sedan kesin em duhazın va çiroka ve parça buyuna revaza sinema u tamam bakın em şirova bakın. Eğer şirovaya hüner veje eğer tunebe rasti ve demi mırın çedibe.
We as filmmakers, as members of Rojava Film Commune, and all of our other friends that are part of it and not here, maybe now, and all of friends which is outside of it, but support us in a way or another, or work with us, are trying to do this, to overcome this being parts and to unify, and because I believe when art also stops, art and literature stop of analyzing, of commenting on life, then the real death happens.
I
think that's enough. Thank you.
It's of course incredibly powerful, and somehow it is a deeply moving experience watching your film, knowing that the actors that depict those who defended Sur are actually played by those who survived the actual war. That some of them who we see in the film have now fallen because they are fighting again for defending another part of Kurdistan. It brings your films incredibly close to reality. It's neither documentary, neither film. It's very similar maybe to what Shiro was talking about when he spoke almost of film as an archaeological tool. Mehmood Barazi, you are the composer of the music for The End Will Be Spectacular. It's a beautiful, powerful piece of work that you have made, and you were telling before a little bit about the long history that music has in the Kurdish struggle for self-determination. Maybe you can give a little bit of context to what the role of music is, both in this historical context and in the film.
Welcome, everyone.
جبو کس کی جد دربه دخوازه کردا ناس بکه آن مروفه کی کرد ناس بکه آن جیرو کاوی ناس بکه آن بویر آوی فهم بکه برال سران آوی گداری که دنگ بیجیه تنه گداری که چما جبرگو دنگ بیجیه همو دیروکا کردستانی و یان کردا بویر وان اوین وان قرکرن چپ سری وان هاتنه همو دهندري خود بلگه کری او ریبازه سرکبو کو بب آمیرا بلگه کرنا دیروکا کردستانی.
For someone from outside and wants to know the Kurds, to learn more about some Kurdish man or woman, I believe they should simply listen to their traditional folk singing and what we call dengbeji, because dengbeji was the main instrument that's used to document all the history of the Kurds, historically and even the recently one. It has all the stories of the Kurds, all their love stories or their resistance stories and all their catastrophes that we're going through.
چبونا دنگبیجی چما جبو کردا نوک جواکین دنا آن نوک گلندره جبرگو او آمیر هانی آناوی دنگبیجی اف بار همو سرملیوی بو دهات خواستن کو گلک تکنیکین کو لبا جواکی دمتنن آن دهنرین جواکی دمتنن دهندره وید هبون میناک کسایت آدنگ بیش و تکنیک آب کاردین.
And why I'm emphasizing this, and why I think that it is different for the Kurds, for example, for some other people or other nation, it's because this tool or this instrument of dengbeji, of folk singing, has a huge responsibility, as we say, to document all this history, and in order to be able to do that, needed a lot of techniques that couldn't be found in some other culture or for other peoples. And for example, there is a very personality of the singer itself, himself or sheself, and also the techniques that he or she uses during performing such a song.
جبو کردا تنکار بیجی دنگ بیجی آن موزیکا کردی جبو موزیسیانا تنی باش او موزیک جبو سینماگرا جی باشه جبو رساما جی باشه جبو کسین دویجه دخبتن باشه چما جبرگو دنگ بیجی دما چه دبو هم دیمنک نداری خود چه کر yani eftişt giring bun dema deng bêjiyê te çi stranê deng bêjî bîsin muzîka Kurdî bîse pêşî coğrafya tarif dike duvre bu yerê tarif dike kesayet pir ji derzelal dike pir dîmenê serê te çê dike yani ew dibe bingeha çêkirina ne tenê muzîkê bingeha her beşên hunerê Kurdistanê.
And this sort of traditional songs are not important only for Kurdish musicians, but also for all the artists, like for the filmmakers, for painters and people who work with literature and so on, because the way it tells us some story. And in order to keep all the information, and so it has to create an imagery or an imagination for those who are listening. Thus, they start starting with a description of the geography of that event is going on, and then the event itself, and then describing the characters or the main characters of the story and so on.
جبر يعني امكارن وسع دنگ بيجي عن موسيقى كردي تعريف بكن دنگ بيجي بلكي دنگ بري دنگ بيجي هولدان هبون كو تشتك ما بين زمان عن خويابو نوك دنگ بيجي بو جبر امكارن وسع تعريف بكن دنگ بيجي شتلا تشيبويه جمزيجكي جراستيه وهستا یک جوان راستی یک هسته جانا رولا خود دوگهرن لیک جوان راستی یک هسته جبروی باندورک نه نورمال لسک نامروی کرد کری چاوا دنگ بیجی تجاری مروف کی هوف لیناکه جبرگو هر کمکجی رخنه کرنه هر تشتب سر کرداد هاتن رخنه کرنه هر اودی من سر مروی کرد آوا کری جبولو تشر في 10 سال سوري شر کمکجی پرله چه بون داعش کمکجی کر هزن گردای ترکیه کمکجی کرن رژیم کمکجی کر لکس کی نبیست کو کرداره کمکجی کر تبلی کردان نیوی سوری تمام خزدت خود شر چما اف تورنی دنگ بیجان ناب کمکجی آب کنیم و او تشت دوباره نبن بدسته وان.
I think, DR, you need to take a moment to translate now, because this is going to be a hard one.
Yeah, he was so enthusiastic describing, and I was listening just it was good. So he was saying that maybe there were some other forms of this traditional thing before what now I call it Deng Beji, to tell our story, but it was the first one that survived and till today, and to tell our history and our stories, and it's consisted of a combination of reality and emotion. And for that, it has big effect on people, on the Kurdish people, on the people who listened to those stories, to the songs. And I think that it has such a deep effect of forming the very personality and identity of the people. For example, because it all the time has this kind of critique of genocide as an act, as such, and it made it made it that the Kurd people, in a way, don't turn to what we can say monsters or so. There is a war that's going almost 10 years in Syria, ISIS did genocide, did horrible things. The regime did. We heard of a lot of reports of other opposition groups of the Syrian Free Army and the Syrian National Army and so on that did, and all documented by international. It's not only the things that we're saying, it's documented by international human rights organization and so, but we rarely hear about Kurds carrying on a genocide or doing massacres, and it is, I believe, it has a lot to do with this heritage of the Dengbeji, of the traditional songers, because these people are the are sons or grandsons of those people who are folk singers and who say these stories to their children and grandchildren.
So in a similar way to the way Ersin and Shiro were talking about film as something to create a common memory, music takes a very similar role in Mahmoud's words. We have 15 minutes left for questions from the audience, so I'm going to slowly move towards you. There's a request from the Rotterdam Film Festival to stand up when you ask a question. It's not me commanding you, but these are the conditions of work that we're faced with. Here you go. And if it can be questions and not essays, that is very much appreciated.
Okay, so it is not really the question that I want to make a comment, because I am the filmmaker and producer, and I'm making the films about the Kurdish people who lives in Japan. It's called Tokyo Kurd. Yes. So this is my question.
Take all your time.
Yeah. So this is my question would be that I wanted to make the connection with the Kurdish people who lives in the court. So what can I do for that?
You can talk after the panel.
Great. So we have 1 and 2.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Özgür from the Kurdistan, Bakur part of the Kurdistan. My question is about, in our all memories, during the Baath regime, they massacred our children in Amude cinema. Now we are speaking about Rojava Film Commune, right? And lady mentioned about it's really hard to find actor and actress. We can imagine in their memories, this massacre is still alive, even we are speaking about 50 years ago. What kind of struggles you are encountering at this massacre of Amude to killing 500 Kurdish children in a cinema, like in the old cinema, and burning them alive? Is that something you are struggling to convince our community, Kurdish people, to making them again part of cinema, film, or these kind of things? That's my question. Thank you.
شخو بير سال 1960 لباجار عمودي سينماك هات شوتاندن بدست رجيما ودمده شرط مرجع جداد يعني صدو حشتي ودزاروك دو دريد هات كشتن او بيرهاني بيشتي ما 1015 ما كومين ازميناك بيجم ما كومين اباك 1015 ما الجندا أجبركوا صارون ما السينما تنا نجبركوا رجيمة جش قرطبون رجيمة جش قربون جي شاهية ما شو فيلم الجندا نشان تان زارو كارلي تشولي الذكري مج قام وجمال دبرن جبوك بين فيلم حاضر بن دايكي كيش مرقد جو ونزارو كما تشتكي بوانك وقت سينما عمود الواني بيشتي بينجي وبينج صارن تكاربج.
You say this thing that happened in Amude, it was in 1960, and because of the Baath regime forced a big amount of kids to be in one place, and this place was not ready, so it was burnt, and 283 kids died burned in this cinema. After 50 years, after the film commune was open, we were making screening for kids in the villages. And we were going to the mothers to say, like, for the kids to come to watch the film, and we were like, we can take them to watch a film outside, open air. And the mothers were like, take the kids, but please do not do anything with him. Do not do something like Amude Cinema.
يعني بشتي اوقات صال هين جد بيراينا وان ده نا او تتقو مبيس شوي دايكي نا جارايك يعني قال لك ساجي بس د بيرانين كرداد سينما غداي ايشي ما جي خواست ودم ام بوكر ما عين روجد ما بيراينا ود ما فستيفال اخوال لدارخست.
And this is not something that he heard it for one time. It's something that is deeply rooted in the mind of the Kurdish people in Rojava. But as a way to try to change this memory in the mind of the people, we try many things, and one of them is to put the Rojava Film Festival in the date of the burning cinema, to change the sad memory into a memory that can make the people happy.
There's one more question here.
I had a question about women's art and culture, because the Rojava Revolution is also seen as a women's revolution. So, yeah, did it also change the women's culture and the women's art?
I think I will answer this. Okay. Yes, of course, it has been changed. I didn't speak a lot about it because they told us the time is so limited. But we are talking about women who were not able to make it so short, were not able to go to the main street and buy something for themselves alone after 6 and after 9 years. We have women who are sitting here now in Rotterdam, coming along with 4 other men. So, yeah.
More questions.
And I'm the co-head of the film commune, so.
More questions, yes.
Thank you. I'm wondering in your work if you've come across people or groups or collectives doing similar work in other parts of the world. I think to the Zapatistas in Mexico, groups working in Palestine, and what kind of dialogue or exchange you've been able to have with these groups doing media work or other types of work. Thank you.
Okay, so of course it's something that we want to build up. We want to build up of a network of similar collectives, also similar artists, individual artists that believe in similar ideas, of share the same worldview of us. Because, as you said, it's never about just someone, or it's never. We can do something, but we cannot change everything alone. We cannot change the whole narrative for such big mechanism, for example, as Hollywood, or the mainstream media alone. We need to join powers in able to achieve something. Yes, we had some connections. We received a lot of messages, email all the day here. There was a chance to meet few, but to give us concrete answer for collectives from Mexico, no, we didn't. But from Palestine, there is a lot of filmmakers that now we're in touch, and a lot of people also who are not from Palestine but worked there, that we're in touch, and we're collaborating on a lot of levels.
Last chance for questions, 1 and 2. These will be the closing ones.
I also wanted to make a small remark concerning the question about women's struggle in Kurdistan and how the culture is changing. A friend of mine, a close friend of mine, was making a documentary about that in Diyarbakir roughly 4 or 5 years ago, which has been finished 2 years ago, and it's a portrait of 9 women in the city of Diyarbakir from various backgrounds, where they explain what it means to be a woman in Diyarbakir these days. The movie hasn't been published openly yet, as the person directing the movie unfortunately died in Iraq last year. But we're working on organizing screenings for this movie soon in the Netherlands, so it will be published through channels of Kurdish community, I guess. But this will be roughly in 3 months or something.
Okay, thank you. And the question here.
Ik vraag voor jullie. Ik kan Nederlands zeggen of Kurdish zeggen?
Kurdish. Doet u meteen in het Kurdish? Dear, can you help translate back or Sevinas from Kurdish to English?
Kurdish. As خيرات نواد خازم. نكال خيرات ناس. As دخازم كي بيصلا بيشة مرة. فيلم جزيرة جي جواد خازم.
I say first you're welcome, and then I'm asking something from you. In the next years, I want the film about Jazira city from you. You need to make it.
Jazira Bodrumanda بر تلفزيون مهم قشكان دي مروف سدان مروف مرني.
We were seeing this on the television every day, and hundreds of people died.
فيلم جوا خازم يكشي هوال او که دنگ بیجان کر دنگ بیجا باردکم ته گبار خاچو گداری کری آنا گبار خاچو سال 1915 دا گبار خاچو به ارمنیان ترکان لارمنی چالی خستی مجبور گبار خاچو گداری کری باکم دنگ بیجان تو خوش گداری کری.
And so he is asking us to make the film, and then he say about Dengbej. We have, like the musician Mahmoud. He say you spoke about Dengbej. He was asking him if he listened to Garabete Khajo. Is an old Dengbej from Kurdistan that I think all of us we know, and for sure he listened to it. And he say he appreciate what he said about Dengbej.
You have just received a request for the production of a new film.
We have a lot.
Can you share the first script details with the public today?
We have already many requests. We have lots of cities that are destroyed, lots of places that need to be done stories about. So.
Do they have on me? You can, yeah.
Yani projeme tenine per proje hene لی پروژه دستپک هم دخوازن هنه که شهر بردوام بکشی هم دخوازن سالن سینما آوا بکن و هنه که سالن هنه هم دخوازن وانا تعمیر بکن لی وکی پروژه جزیر حالی حاضر هی.
He says we have lots of projects that we're working on to prepare, and there's some friends of us that already working on a film about the city of Jizr, which this massacre happened in. But for now, what we think is urgent, and what we have it as a project for near future, is to rebuild some cinema halls that we have in Rojava, and to repair them and provide them with techniques basically, and that's what we're working now. Of course, because of its importance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We were at least extremely proud to have you here, to be students tonight of the Rojava Film Commune. So I ask you for a last applause of appreciation for all of you being here.